Service on the extended UCSD Blue Line began on Sunday, but last week, MTS offered the media a preview ride. It was fast and smooth, with some excellent views you can't get while driving. So full disclosure, I've been looking forward to riding this trolley for a really long time, and it's hard to understate just how big a deal this project is. 9 new stations, 11 miles of tracks, and that's a 20% increase to the MTS trolley network.
We are so excited about this project!
Sharon Humphreys is the bubbly Director of Engineering and Construction at SANDAC, the regional transportation agency that built the trolley extension. She says the project has been planned since the 1980s.
I myself have worked on the project for the last 10 years, so if you are interested in instant gratification, civil engineering is not the field for you.
One of the key decisions made early on was to build the tracks next to the I-5 freeway. That made the project cheaper and easier to build by limiting the amount of land SANDAG had to acquire.
Nobody wants to part with their personal property, their land, so by running most of the project through public lands, we were able to avoid impacting property owners and impact personal property.
The downside to that decision, half the land that surrounds many of the stations is taken up by the freeway, where there's no chance of building new housing or commercial development. Even where the city does have plans for transit-oriented growth, they'll likely take years to come to fruition.
When we look around, we don't see the kind of dense housing here that we might hope for.
Katie Christ is a postdoctoral researcher at UCSD. The campus has 2 new stops along the Blue Line. She's starting a study of how the new trolley changes the transportation habits among university staff.
And what we would expect is that we'll see an increase in physical activity, an increase in biking, walking, transit trips, and a decrease in vehicle miles traveled among those people that live near to a trolley stop versus those that live further away.
Christ plans on riding the trolley to campus a couple times a week. She lives in Normal Heights, miles and canyons away from the nearest trolley stop, but she's a gung-ho cyclist and transit rider, eager to get to the trolley however she can. The extension starts at Old Town and runs north between Pacific Beach and Claremont before reaching UCSD and University City. Christ and I rode our bikes up and down Balboa Avenue, the 3rd stop on the trolley extension. Massive trucks zoomed by us like it was a freeway. Many of the new stations are downright hazardous to access by foot, wheelchair, or bike. And Christ says most people who live far from these stations won't go out of their way to ride the trolley. There are plans to improve bike and pedestrian infrastructure around the stations, but there's no clear timeline on when they'll be complete, and they may require taking a lane or 2 away from cars. Christ says she doesn't see another option.
We've set some really ambitious targets, right, with our climate action plan. We know that transportation is the biggest contributor to greenhouse gases that are warming the planet and causing, public health harm. So I think that is a trade-off we have to be willing to make.
So the benefits of the new trolley may take a while to reach most San Diegans. But UCSD Chancellor Pradeep Khosla says he thinks the trolley will really catch on with students within a year.
We have passes for all of our students. It's part of their student activity fees, and they're subsidized passes, and they're passes not just for the light rail, but also for the buses. So the students will have complete access to San Diego without a car.
Or rather, access to the parts of San Diego you can easily get to via public transit. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.